The thickness of that meat cannot be taken lightly. That is just, it's almost breathtakingly beautiful. I didn't actually need teeth to bite through that. I could have used pure gums. Good morning, everyone. It's Mark Wiens with Migrationology.com in New York City. We are out this morning. It's about 7:30 a.m. and we are gonna start this morning with a monumental place to eat. So we're walking over to the subway station, gonna head south to Lower Manhattan. We ended up buying the Metro card, which is a card for the subway, and then you put credit on it. And we are trying to figure out the station now, walking down to the train. We got off the Metro at 2nd Ave, and the restaurant should just be a short walk from here. I'm getting excited. The legendary, the historic, the home of the ultimate pastrami sandwich in New York City, Katz's Delicatessen. And though I have visited New York City a couple of times, this is gonna be my first time to ever eat here. Hello.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Oh, we gotta keep this. We gotta keep this, I think. What's the difference between the Reuben with pastrami and the pastrami sandwich?
Okay, it's just the texture of the sandwich. We can make the Reuben with pastrami, and it comes with Russian dressing, sauerkraut, and Swiss cheese.
And it's just after 8 a.m. right as they have opened this morning. This is the perfect time to come, because when you come here later in the day, it's normally just absolutely packed out, and normally you have to wait in line. And right at the entrance, they give you tickets. And so then after that, I'm kind of trying to figure out the system, but then you walk to one of the bar counters here, and you place in your order. They have the menus up at the top. And so I have just placed in my order, and
this is Eli.
And this is Eli,
his server.
my server.
I'm gonna make him very happy.
Oh yeah.
Everything's gonna be fantastic.
Thank you, man.
No problem.
Oh yeah.
This is the corned beef.
Corned beef, okay.
For my friend. What's your name?
Mark.
Mark. Ooh, this for you and your wife, Mom.
Oh man, thank you. Okay, Eli has just sliced me a fresh piece of the corned beef.
You want this piece?
Oh yeah. It's tender. You can taste the saltiness and the light spice. Oh. So what time does it start to get really busy here?
About 10:30, 11 o'clock. Eat all of this, don't embarrass you.
Okay.
Take some to your wife. Nobody's gonna move the table.
King Katz, you told me to take this to you. Oh, and this is the pastrami?
Yeah, man. You guys know what you want?
Thank you.
You and your wife, my dude.
Oh, awesome.
Wait till you taste that.
Oh, man.
You're gonna jump for joy.
It's time for my first taste of the pastrami now. And you can see that ratio, that outer crust edge, the pink interior with the fat.
That's good stuff.
Oh. That just melts in your mouth. Oh, the Reuben. Oh, that's insane.
Alright, Mom. You too, Slugs. Get up here. How you doing? It's gonna be a great day.
My joy and excitement right now is at an unparalleled level. I got my tray of food, and the main thing that I have to eat here, that you have to eat here when you come to this restaurant, is the pastrami. And you can either order just the pastrami sandwich, or you can order the Reuben, which is a sandwich that includes pastrami. I went with the Reuben, and it also includes some Russian sauce plus sauerkraut, and I think there's some cheese on there as well. And then I could not resist trying the corned beef, so I had to get a half of corned beef, all on rye, plus a side of pickles, plus a side of coleslaw. These are possibly the most beautifully exploding meat sandwiches. This is the Reuben with pastrami. The ratio of meat to bread is just an absolute sensational thing, and there's sauerkraut on here, and then that sauce, and yeah, and Eli really hooked it up with the samples already, so I've already tasted the pastrami, and it is absolutely ridiculous. Look at this thing just steaming away. The thickness of that meat cannot be taken lightly. That is just, it's almost breathtakingly beautiful. I am a big fan of taking big bites, but this is the next level of big bites. That will just make you, that is an eye closer. I didn't actually need teeth to bite through that. I could have used pure gums. It's so tender. It's perfectly salted. You can taste that peppery crust on the outside, and then with the Russian mustard, I think, is a little bit sweet, plus the cheese and the sour crispness of that sauerkraut. And what I love is that the juices and the fat of the pastrami have soaked into the bread. Oh, and I probably have something on my chin and lips. But when you hold the bread on your fingers, it's still dry on the outside. But that fat and that juice has made like half of the bread gooey and just full of juices. I might add some more mustard. There's no way I'm gonna lift the lid on the sandwich, so I'm just gonna put it on top. Oh yes. Just look at the amount of cheese that's hanging out of it as well. The mustard is awesome. That brings it to another level of flavor with it's a little bit sour, and you can taste that turmeric-y flavor to it. Halfway through my first half of sandwich, I think this would be an appropriate time to take a bite of the pickle. And there's two different types of pickles here. This one is more of a green looking cucumber, and this one looks like it's been brined for longer. And then I think that is the tomatillo, maybe a green tomato pickle. I love pickles too. It's salty, it's not sweet at all. This is just the kosher pickle. This one definitely has a more sour taste to it, and I think it's been pickled for longer. I'm gonna go ahead and move over to the corned beef. And this one is just the corned beef. It's a half a sandwich. Just look, you just have to admire how many layers of corned beef are in here. 2, 4, 6, 8, at least 10 layers of meat are filled into this sandwich. Okay. The corned beef is awesome too. It's not as tender as the pastrami. And because it's corned beef, it has that saltier flavor to it. Very good as well. But I think I gotta give it up for that pastrami. This needs some mustard, some more mustard. The meat goes so well together with that mustard. Okay, we also got a side of coleslaw. Let me taste the coleslaw. A little bit sweet and tangy and very creamy, milky. And then The cabbage is has a very crisp texture to it. And I gotta try this as well. As soon as you bite that, you have to, it just explodes with juice, so you have to make sure you get all that juice. It has a wonderful garlicky taste to it. And then, that's amazing. It's tart, it's nice and sour, it's salty, it's garlicky, and it's so juicy. The tenderness of that pastrami cannot be exaggerated. You could use every tender adjective possible to describe that, and you would not be able to exaggerate how tender and how flavorful and just how beautiful that pastrami meat was. That was insanely delicious. The corned beef was good, but the pastrami just blew it away. That was definitely a lot of meat to eat in the morning, but I'm really glad that Ying and I came here as soon as they opened early in the morning, because it was the perfect time to come, no waiting in line, and now we get to burn all of that beautiful meat for the rest of the day walking around. We're just gonna kind of walk around. I think we're in the Lower East Side area of Manhattan right now. We're gonna walk on over towards Chinatown, maybe take a look at Brooklyn Bridge, and just kind of wander today. We made it successfully to Chinatown. I love Chinatown. So much action happening. Oh, and so many good restaurants that we have passed. But we're gonna keep on walking all the way to the bridge. Gonna go take a look at the Brooklyn Bridge and then maybe come back to Chinatown for lunch. Ying saw the cherries and she could not resist, so we just ordered a pound of cherries.
So it should be like $1. It's 59 cents per pound. This is $1. It's $1 or 75. Okay. Thank you.
Yes! Nice to meet you. Thank you. We made it to the East River, have the Manhattan Bridge over to this side, Brooklyn across the river, and then the famous Brooklyn Bridge. We are walking through Chinatown again. Chinatown is awesome in New York City. It is really as close to China as you can get without being in China. It's amazing. You can get so many food ingredients, so much of everything you could possibly imagine. Ano yung gawin?
Oh, is this the different menu? Can we have the spicy big tray chicken?
With noodles, yeah. Since we were walking around Chinatown, I had to come to this restaurant. It's called Spicy Village. Thank you very much to Monty for this recommendation. This is an awesome little place. You walk in here, it's just a small restaurant with maybe a half a dozen tables in here. And they do have a full menu on a paper, but then they have their main specialty dishes listed and pictured on the wall. The main dish that I had to try here is the big tray chicken, and I was just looking up this restaurant, and someone wrote about it from the New York Times, and he said he went into the kitchen and saw how they make it, and they add a unique mixture of different ingredients into the chicken, including oil and Budweiser, and then fry the chicken and then drain it and then fry it again, and then it goes into a spicy chili filled broth with Sichuan peppers. You can smell the cumin in here, and I got it with noodles. All of the chicken is down here below, and then a big pile of noodles. I think there are even some potatoes in here. Oh, look at this. This is just pretty. Okay, let me take my bowl. Maybe I should just taste some of that broth first. Let me taste some of the soup. That is insane. Oh, you can really taste the Sichuan pepper in there. You can taste the cumin nice and strong as well, and then it's salty. That is outstanding. Okay, mix the noodles with the nam. Mix the noodles with the soup. And you can actually see also, you can just see how much cumin is in there. There's so much cumin and so many Sichuan peppers in here. It has a fantastic cumin flavor to it. Okay, mate. It will be easier to eat from my single bowl. Some chicken. Okay, chicken time. There are other things that certain things that aren't mentioned. You can tell that the chicken has been fried because it has this skin around it, like a fried skin around it. But then the inside is so tender, it's juicy, it's like filled with that broth that is insanely good. And then some of the noodles, you can see all the Sichuan peppers in there, the cumin seeds.
It's like basically Jack Dowler's
Wow. You can immediately tell those are handmade noodles. They are chewy, but yet they are fresh tasting, and I love how they are thick cut. So they're a little bit thick, but they're gooey, but just perfectly chewy. And then again, the noodles are just wrapped up, soaked up with that incredibly flavorful broth. The Sichuan pepper, the chili, and especially that cumin. That cumin is what's really blowing me away. Finished eating that big tray chicken. That is sensational. That was so incredibly good. What really just took it to the next level was that amount of cumin as well as that Sichuan pepper. So my mouth is still a little bit numb. I love Sichuan pepper. It's one of my favorite ingredients in the entire world, and they used it marvelously in this combination. That was truly a masterpiece of a dish within a tray. So good. The cumin is just going up my nose right now. It was so good. We have decided to head back to the subway, and we are gonna go back to Midtown, maybe do a little bit of shopping. I wanna go to Trader Joe's and buy some walnuts and some other snacks. Then maybe we'll go back to the hotel for a little while, and then after that, maybe walk around Times Square. This is Avenue. I was thinking it's down that way. We got off the subway at 23rd Street. And here is Trader Joe's. We're gonna go in here for a little while and do some shopping. Raspberry garai. What's that? We were only gonna go into Trader Joe's and buy a couple of things, but ended up with a whole sack of things. Ying and I were both excited. We bought raspberries and almonds and almond milk and bananas and walnuts. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Trader Joe's when I am visiting the United States. We went back to the hotel and stayed for about an hour, and now we are walking down 7th Avenue on our way to Times Square. This is Times Square. We made it right into the center of New York's Times Square. This is a huge, just absolutely packed with people square. And I just read that it's one of the world's busiest pedestrian walkways in the entire world, with over 400,000 people on average per day who walk through Times Square. But it's just an insanity of lights and billboards.
I see your videos all the time.
Thank you. What's your name? Hello.
Andrea.
Nice to meet you. Where are you from?
Nice to meet you, Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Hello.
And there's just an insanity of lights and flashing billboards and advertisements and everything going on. Everything you could possibly want to ever buy, there is advertising for it somewhere within Times Square. Not too far away from Times Square is a place I have been waiting to eat for a long time. And we have just arrived at the corner of 6th Avenue and 53rd Street. Halal Guys. They are one of the most well-known street food trucks or street food establishments in all of New York, famous for serving halal food. And since we happen to be in this area, I thought this would make the perfect dinner. I know exactly what I'm gonna order. I'm gonna go for the chicken rice plate, extra white sauce and extra hot sauce, and I can actually smell this entire plaza area, which is just surrounded by gigantic buildings, is filled with the aroma of the chicken. The Halal Guys were established back in 1990, and they were a pioneer in the street food in New York City as well as halal food. And you can see how they are preparing food for the masses right now. They are cooking chicken, just heaps of chicken, and that aroma is enough to make your mouth water immediately.
Chicken and beef. Mix, yeah? Yes.
Yes, chicken over rice, one plate. But I don't want to lean back too far because this is a fountain and there are some drips coming down and there's water below where I'm sitting, so just don't lean back too far. It's the unveiling of the Halal Guys chicken over rice, and oh yes, you can smell that. It smells incredible. And what else came in here? Oh, this is the white sauce, the famous white sauce that includes soybeans and egg yolk and vinegar, water, salt, lots of good stuff, and then extra hot sauce. All right. And that's pretty heavy. That's a good sized portion. Oh yeah, here it is. Chicken over rice. The rice is very orange in color on the bottom. There's some iceberg lettuce and then pieces of bread. Okay, the security just came over and said we can't sit on the fountain. So I gotta take my Halal Guys elsewhere.
May mi cola. Atang nila kan. Atang nila kan.
Okay. We'll try the flower planter this time instead of the fountain. Let's do this one more time. The correct procedure is to take the packets of sauce and just drench this entire plate with all of that sauce. But I'm gonna go ahead and just taste a piece of the chicken before drenching it in sauce with some of that rice. Oh. It's not overly spicy or spicious. It's kind of just like fried chicken, like griddle fried chicken, but very tender chicken, and then over fluffy orange rice. So I think a lot of the flavor is in that sauce. Oh yeah. And from what everybody says, you cannot have enough white sauce. Okay, and hot sauce. I'll go with just one packet of the white sauce for now, and then the red sauce, the hot sauce. And then just stir this all up with the chicken. Oh, that beautiful swirl. All right, I think that is perfect. I'm not waiting any longer. is all about the combinations of those sauces. Because the chicken and the rice, tasting it on its own, it really is quite plain. But when you add that sauce, that just adds the world of difference. That is the secret of the Halal guys for sure. It kind of tastes yogurty, but then reading the ingredients, it says soybean and then also egg yolk and vinegar and water and salt. But it has a little bit of a sour yogurty taste to it. It's creamy, and then that hot sauce is fantastic. It is definitely a little bit spicy, some good heat to it, and just fantastic flavor. Wow, that is like surprisingly awesomely good once you mix both of those sauces in. Yeah, this hot sauce is incredibly good. I want to get some of the chicken with only the hot sauce. Let me see what's all in this hot sauce. There is water, spices, vinegar, salt, lemon. Yeah, those are mostly the ingredients. Oh yeah. That hot sauce is amazing. It does have a kick to it. It is nice and spicy, and then it has a really like sharp, lemony, kind of acidic, slightly bitter taste to it. That is a wonderful hot sauce. That was a lot of hot sauce in that bite. That was amazing. And then I think I will just add on, this hot sauce is remarkably spicy. It's fantastic. I think I'm getting the hang of this. You want every piece of chicken and every morsel of rice, every grain of rice, to just be coated in hot sauce and white sauce. Don't let anything not get sauce on it. What I love so much about New York City is the diversity, and which leads to just the full world of possibilities when it comes to food. So for breakfast, we had that insanely good pastrami. For lunch, we had that unbelievably good hot pot of chicken and noodles and Sichuan pepper. And then for dinner, that New York Middle Eastern inspired chicken over rice from the Halal guys. That was an awesome day of eating. Thank you all very much for watching this video. Please remember to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and also make sure you subscribe for lots more food and travel videos. Good night from New York City. Thank you again for watching. Oh, hello, Ying. Welcome to Times Square.
Time for shopping. Want to say something?
Is there a tear? Is there a tear in my eye?
Yeah.
It was that, the hot sauce was that good.